Exposing Wendy, squatting in San Miguel de Allende. What happens in San Miguel doesn't stay in San Miguel. Wendy moves to Mexico and immerses herself in the vibrant city of San Miguel de Allende. She finds a rental and quickly reveals herself and her true intentions to her unsuspecting landlords. Chaos ensues, but a semblance of justice emerges as the aggrieved parties have their day in court. This is the story of Wendy's time in San Miguel as told by her victims. A husband and wife, from Canada. This took place 10 years ago when Wendy moved to San Miguel de Allende. Wendy was squatting in their rental house, refusing to pay rent, making threats and destroying their property. The owners lived through hell, until they took her to the courts of Guanajuato and won the case. Judgment was against Wendy and she was ordered to pay. But Wendy absconded, leaving town before they could seize her car or anything else. She disappeared a squatter and to date has never compensated the victims. Wendy abandoned 9 cats and dogs in the victim's rental when she went on the run. She locked them in the house with only some kibble strewn on the floor, left to urinate and defecate in the victim's home. The victims later discovered their personal furniture at a local consignment store, where it was being sold to the public. In retaliation, Wendy created flyers of the victims which she hung around town. The posters falsely warned citizens that the couple were wanted by the Canadian government, and instructed residents to never rent from them. Though the victims won their court case, they report that it cost them over $16,000 in the way of legal fees, rent, damages and repairs, stolen property and lawyers. This does not account for the emotional and psychological cost and the reported worst 6 months of their lives. The victims warn that Wendy is extremely aggressive, both verbally and in written form, and physically intimidating. Wendy made her rounds in San Miguel before she was run out of town, damaging rental homes, stealing from them and leaving animals dead or dying, all while refusing to pay rent. In another instance, Wendy was supposed to be house-sitting for an elderly woman. But instead of caring for her home and cat, Wendy stole the woman's furniture and left the cat behind, dead. The woman's furniture would later be found in a local consignment store as well. The victims provide a copy of their winning suit against Wendy Summers, otherwise known as Wendy Bree Morgan, and many other aliases. This case is a matter of public records and can be verified through the courts of Guanajuato. The defendant Wendy did not answer the lawsuit filed against her in spite of having been duly summoned to trial. Wendy was evicted for lack of payment and non-compliance of the lease for more than 3 consecutive months, and sentenced to pay the amount of $5,500 to her victims. We have also included some of Wendy's many threatening emails as she attempted to extort the victims for a reduction in rent. Threatening to report landlords to the federal tax office is a common shakedown tactic Wendy uses. But being tax-paying, law-abiding citizens, her repetitive threats did not work on these victims. Wendy is currently residing in the Lake Chapala area of Mexico. Beware, she is actively looking for a new rental. Wendy is a grifter who operates in Mexico. Over the past 10 years, Wendy has worked her way around Mexico, grifting as she goes. She has many names and almost as many scams. In effort to prevent additional victims, we explain in detail how Wendy operates on our social media outlets. For more information, you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter X, or at www.exposingwendy.com.